Let's be honest, most of us know how to move. We know how to hustle, how to grind, how to push through, how to survive on caffeine, determination, and a level of stress that would concern a medical professional. We know how to keep going. What most of us don't know is how to stop. And that's a problem, because eventually life introduces every one of us to a season where movement is no longer the answer, a season where effort can't fix it, a season where discipline isn't enough, a season where the thing you've always used to cope stops working. And when that happens, you discover something terrifying. You discover that the hardest race isn't the one you run, it's the one you don't. This is the story of a man named Daniel, and the race he never expected to lose, and the life he never expected to find. Daniel had been running for almost 25 years. Not casually, not the kind of person who jogged once a month and posted about it online. Daniel was serious, the kind of serious that rearranges your entire life. His alarm went off at 4:45 every morning, not sometimes. Every morning. Rain, sunshine, Christmas, birthdays, vacations didn't matter. He ran. His friends were runners. His holidays involved races. His social media was full of finish lines. His wardrobe contained more athletic gear than regular clothes. His identity wasn't just connected to running. It was built on it. When people described him, they didn't say, Daniel is funny, or Daniel is kind, or Daniel is thoughtful. They said, Daniel, oh, he's the runner. And he liked that because it gave him certainty, a role, a definition, a place in the world. Then life did what life sometimes does. It interrupted the script, not dramatically, no explosion, no catastrophic accident, no movie scene, just pain. Small at first, easy to ignore, a little ache in his knee, then his hip, then his lower back. Nothing major, nothing worth worrying about. At least that's what he told himself, until the pain stopped asking for attention and started demanding it. You know what's funny? The body whispers before it screams. But most of us only listen to screams. The whispers are inconvenient. The screams are impossible to ignore. Daniel ignored whispers for almost 3 years. Then came the MRI, and the appointment, and the conversation, the one nobody wants. The surgeon studied the scans, looked at Daniel, looked back at the scans, then sighed. Not dramatically, just honestly. The sigh of someone about to say something another human being doesn't want to hear. Daniel, pause. You can keep doing this. Another pause. But if you do, you're going to pay for it later. Daniel hated those words because they weren't a prohibition. They were a choice. And choices are harder than rules. Rules let you blame someone else. Choices make you responsible. The surgeon continued. You've accumulated a lot of damage. The good news is this isn't life-threatening. The bad news is that your body is asking for something different now. Different. Daniel hated that word too, because different sounded suspiciously like finished, and he wasn't ready to be finished. For the next 2 years, he fought reality. Hard, really hard. Physical therapy, alternative treatments, modified training plan, different shoes, different surfaces, different schedules, different everything. He negotiated with reality the way people negotiate with heartbreak. Maybe if I try harder, maybe if I find the right solution, maybe if I refuse to accept this, maybe. But reality is undefeated. Eventually, Daniel realized something. He wasn't fighting an injury anymore. He was fighting grief. And grief is different because grief isn't about losing what hurts you. It's about losing what helped you. Running wasn't exercise. Running was therapy. Running was prayer. Running was stress relief. Running was confidence. Running was identity. Running was the place he went when life got heavy. And now life was heavy because he couldn't run, which felt profoundly unfair. One afternoon, he sat in a coffee shop with an old friend. The kind of friend who knows you well enough to hear what you're not saying. Daniel stirred his coffee, looked out the window, and finally admitted the truth. Running a marathon was easier than learning to sit still. His friend nodded, because he understood immediately. See, people think stillness is passive. It isn't. Stillness is work, different work, invisible work, the kind nobody claps for, the kind nobody posts about, the kind that doesn't come with medals. But work nonetheless, because when you stop moving, you start hearing things, thoughts, feelings, questions, old wounds, unanswered grief, buried fears, things movement kept conveniently hidden. There's actually science behind this. Researchers studying endurance athletes have repeatedly found that athletic retirement, whether voluntary or forced, often triggers significant identity disruption, not because exercise disappears, because identity disappears. When your sense of self is attached to one thing, losing that thing feels like losing yourself. That's why many former athletes struggle with depression, anxiety, and uncertainty after retirement. They're not grieving a sport, they're grieving a version of themselves. Daniel didn't know any of that. He just knew he felt lost. And for the first time in his adult life, there was nowhere to run, literally. So he started walking, not for fitness, just walking. No smartwatch, no pace goals, no podcasts, no performance metrics, just walking. And at first, he hated it, absolutely hated it, because walking felt slow, pointless, unproductive, boring. His brain kept asking, what's the goal? What are we achieving? How many calories? How many miles? What's the point? Maybe you've noticed this too. We have become a society addicted to optimization. Everything needs a purpose, a metric, a result, a measurable outcome. We've become so obsessed with productivity that we don't know what to do with experiences that simply exist. But something strange happened. Around week 6, the walks got quieter, not outside. Inside, the noise began settling, the urgency softened, the constant need to achieve started loosening its grip, and for the first time in years, Daniel could hear himself think, not perform, not strategize, not optimize, think. That's when Psalm 46 started making sense, not as a decorative Bible verse, as a survival strategy. Be still and know that I am God. Most people read that like a gentle suggestion, like God is softly whispering from a peaceful meadow. That's not the context at all. Psalm 46 is chaos, earthquakes, wars, nations collapsing, mountains falling into the sea. Everything is falling apart. And right in the middle of all that noise, God says, be still. The Hebrew word used there is Raphah, and it's fascinating because it doesn't simply mean sit quietly. It means release, let go, loosen your grip, stop striving, stop forcing, stop clenching. In other words, the command isn't to become inactive. The command is to stop trying to control everything. And that's much harder because control feels safe until it doesn't. Daniel eventually realized something. For years, he thought running made him strong, and it did. Physically, mentally, emotionally. But stillness revealed a different weakness, his inability to simply exist without proving something. That realization hit hard because suddenly he wasn't asking, can I still run? He was asking, who am I if I can't? And that's a much scarier question. Years passed, slowly, beautifully, unexpectedly. Daniel began meditating, 5 minutes at first, then 10, then 20. He started reading again, not for information, for enjoyment. He spent time with people without checking the clock. He learned how to watch sunsets, which sounds ridiculous until you realize how many adults genuinely don't know how. And here's the weird thing. The more still he became, the more alive he felt. Neuroscience actually supports this. Studies on contemplative practices show that periods of stillness activate what's called the default mode network. This network helps the brain process experiences, consolidate memories, regulate emotions, and generate insights. In simple English, your brain needs quiet, not occasionally, regularly. Stillness isn't empty, it's maintenance. Think about your phone. If you never restarted it, never closed applications, never cleared memory, eventually performance would decline. The human brain works similarly. We weren't designed for nonstop input. We require recovery, reflection, silence. The funny part? Daniel became happier after he stopped chasing happiness. He became calmer after he stopped chasing calm. He became more present after he stopped chasing achievement. Not because achievement is bad. It's not. Achievements are wonderful. Goals matter. Discipline matters. Growth matters. But they make terrible identities because eventually, every identity built on performance meets a season where performance changes. And then what? If your value depends on what you do, what happens when you can't do it? If your identity depends on how productive you are, what happens when you're forced to rest? If your worth depends on movement, what happens when life asks you to be still? Those questions aren't theoretical. Eventually, life asks all of us. Different circumstances, same question. At 45, Daniel entered one final race, a simple 5K. Nothing dramatic, no expectations, no pressure, no training plan, no obsession, just gratitude. When the starting horn sounded, he smiled, not because he expected to win. He didn't. For the first time in his life, he ran without trying to become anything. He noticed the trees, the sky, the rhythm of his breathing, the sound of shoes hitting pavement, the privilege of movement itself. And when he crossed the finish line, he felt something he'd never felt in 25 years of racing: presence. Later, someone asked how it went. Daniel laughed, then said something beautiful: "The best race of my life." Pause. Because for the first time, I was actually there. Maybe that's what stillness gives us. Not less life, more of it. Maybe the goal was never to run forever. Maybe the goal was to become the kind of person who could find meaning, whether running or resting, winning or losing, moving or still. Because strength isn't only measured by how much weight you can carry. Sometimes strength is measured by what you're willing to put down. So here's your challenge. This week, take 10 minutes. No phone, no music, no notifications, no agenda, just 10 minutes. Sit, walk, breathe, be. It might feel uncomfortable. Good. That discomfort is information, not failure. Information. And if life has forced you into a season you didn't choose, an injury, a loss, a transition, a chapter ending before you were ready, don't rush to replace it. Listen first. There may be something waiting in the stillness that movement could never teach you. Because stillness isn't surrender. Stillness isn't weakness. Stillness isn't defeat. Stillness is trust. Stillness is wisdom. Stillness is a strength that only reveals itself after the running stops. The race eventually ends for everyone. The question is, when it does, will you know how to be? Take care of the temple. Glory lives there. If something in this landed somewhere tender, if your body, your spirit, something inside you just exhaled, stay with that for a second. Don't scroll past it. Hit like, because there's someone out there who's been running on empty, treating their temple like it doesn't matter. And this might be exactly what finds them. Share it with that friend who needs permission to slow down and take care of herself. The one who hasn't heard the word speak to her body like this before. And subscribe to Bible Rebooted. We're not here to make you feel inspired for 5 minutes. We're here to give you the truth and show you how to live inside it. It's your girl, Sophia Stan, signing out. Like, subscribe and stream the music.
He conquered death so I could stand. This joy is mine, this peace is free. Because the one who conquered